Hello and welcome YouTube to the very first Exposure Ninja Digital Marketing Makeover. We are using YouTube Live for the first time, so excuse any technical issues. And what we're going to be doing today is taking one business that submitted themselves, and we've got a bunch of ninjas here specializing in different areas, and they're going to be picking apart that business, and we'll put everything together at the end into the ultimate digital marketing plan for this business. So if you've been on any of the Facebook Lives, which I've run where I'm kind of picking apart somebody, this is like that, but massively on steroids. So it's going to be phenomenal. We've got some incredible ninjas here. So we've got a bit of a schedule to run through. If you've got any questions, then feel free to stick them in the chat. I believe there's a chat somewhere that we should be able to see. So yeah, happy to answer any questions as we go through. I'm going to be kind of MC compare and then let the ninjas do their expertise bits. So just to introduce some of the ninjas we've got today, we've got Wayne, who's going to be talking through conversion and messaging. We've got Stacey, who's going to be looking at website usability and mobile. We've got Dale, who's going to be looking at some content marketing stuff. Jenna's going to be looking at some SEO. Loz is going to be looking at PPC. And then Ali is going to be wrapping everything up with a bit of a plan. So who is the business? Have we got a website that we can stick up? It's Northern Rivers Dental. Wayne, do you have it on your screen that you can share yet? Or I can stick it in mine. Cool. All right. Let me know in the chat if you can see that. Alrighty, so Wayne, are you ready to get stuck into Northern Rivers? If you are, I can't hear you.
I think Wayne might be having some technical issues. So maybe we should come back to his section. Can we do somebody else's section while we're waiting for him to sort out?
Yes, let's do it. Stacey, are you ready to have a look at this site and go through some of the layout pieces?
Is it just? I mean, I'm happy.
The joys of YouTube Live. All right. Well, we're going to get started with some layout stuff and some conversion stuff anyway, even if I have to do it. So I'll just share the screen. So this is the site that we're going to be looking at today.
Can anyone hear me? I don't know if this is working or not.
Yes, I can hear you, Wayne.
Hooray.
Ah, splendid. We're there. We're there. In which case, should we dive into the amazing conversion optimization side of things for the site?
Let's do it. Do you want to show your screen so you can be in control?
I will indeed. Now, apologies, I'm having some site connectivity issues, so some of the load times may not be ideal, because that's always what happens when you're running a webinar. Things always go wrong. Right, won't be a moment. So, we're there. And any minute, the website will finish loading. But whilst it's loading, it's a good time to talk about generally why conversion optimization is so important. So conversion optimization ultimately is going to impact everything else when it comes to a marketing campaign that you're running. Your website is the foundation, it's the cement, it's the glue that holds your marketing campaigns together. So that's really important that everything is in place to give you the best possible chance of actually converting the traffic when people get to your site. So let's have a look at the site for Northern Rivers Denture Clinic and talk about what's good and what would benefit from being improved. So the starting point, I think overall, the design and layout of the site is really effective. We've got a functional logo in the top left, which is great. We've got the contact details up in the top right, which again is great to see. And then the site overall looks nice and professional. We've got really professional slider images with text overlay, they're interactive sliders. All of that is really good. However, there isn't any visible form here to actually help people take that next step. Now, of course, we've got the Make a Booking button up top, which is good for people that are in that position where they're already ready to make a booking. But what you've got to remember is a lot of people that come to the site are not going to be in that position. They're not going to be ready to make a booking yet. They're in that research phase. They're looking to find the right provider for them. And this make a booking call to action is a little bit of a high commitment, because you're asking someone to actually book and choose you rather than giving them the information to make that decision over time. So what we would tend to find works very effectively for anything related to healthcare or dentistry, or in this instance, dentures, having a form which allows people to request a callback. That could be really, really effective. A form that's nice and visible over the slider that simply says, fill in your details below, request a free callback to discuss your needs, because that way people don't feel like they're having to make a large commitment, but they're still able to take that next step, so that as a business, you've got them actually becoming a lead. And once they're a lead, you can obviously re-communicate with them. You can build that relationship until they're in that position where they then feel ready to make that booking. So that's what I would say is a really core thing on the site. And again, with this form here, it's good that the form is there, because a lot of websites don't even have a form of any kind. But it is a make a booking form, which, as we said, is a little bit of a high level of commitment for someone that's just browsing, just doing some research. Now, in addition to adding a form, which can be a really effective way of actually getting people to become a lead, there are also some interesting widgets and extensions that you can add to websites, which can do a really effective job of maximizing the leads that you get from the site. So one thing that can work incredibly well, and we recommend it to all businesses, pretty much, whether it's e-commerce, service-based, whatever you're doing, is a live chat feature. Live chat can be a really great way of engaging with people whilst they're on your site. It means if they've got any questions, if there's anything they're not sure of, they can get those questions answered. And what you'll tend to find with live chat is it's people that are most engaged that will tend to engage with live chat. So it's a way of getting your hottest, most engaged leads to raise their hand and to say, I would like more information. The great thing as well about how live chat works these days, it doesn't require a huge amount of time investment, because a lot of it can be managed on the go, a lot of it can be managed with phone apps, with tablet apps, and there are automated triggers and greetings that you can set up that are based on your site visitors' behavior. And that, again, is a really effective way of getting more leads through. So we would recommend a live chat platform called Talk, TAWK.TO. It's what we use on the Exposure Ninja website. Works very effectively, and it's completely free of charge to use, which is great as well. It's very easy to integrate, so that is worth looking at. Something else that would work very well for this particular type of business is having some kind of instant request a callback feature. So there's an amazing app out there, which is quite a new app called Live Call. The website is livecall.io. And this basically allows you to add a widget on your site, which will allow someone to request a callback. And as soon as they submit their number, it will instantly connect them with someone. So if you've got someone within the business, a receptionist or someone that currently does your call answering, it is a great way of being able to connect with more people over the phone in a much more efficient way. It can work very, very well indeed. Now, in addition to the functions and features that are very important on the homepage, which overall I think looks quite good, we can see we've got these content buckets highlighting information that's important. And as we scroll down further, all of the text is formatted in a nice, engaging way. But in addition to the homepage, we need to make sure that we're paying attention to how the internal pages are structured too. So just before we move on to the next section of the webinar, I just want to have a look at one of the internal pages so that we can assess whether there's anything that can be done to improve the response rate there. Because it's important to remember, whether it's a paid traffic campaign or organic traffic from the search engines, you're going to get people coming to the site through the internal pages. And you want to make sure that you're maximizing the response rate that you get from every page on the site. So from an internal page point of view, the first thing I'd say is we've got a lot of wasted space when this page is loaded. We've got this very large title here, but we've not got any information at all that is useful above the fold. And when I say above the fold, it's the space that loads without having to scroll down. So that could definitely be enhanced. Now, as we do scroll down, again, we've got this make a booking form. One thing that would make a profound difference to the response rate with this is what we've said already. Change that from a make a booking form to a request a callback form so that it's less committal. I think the positioning of that is actually pretty good. I wouldn't suggest it needs moving, but change the nature of what the form is. And then with the other widgets and features that I've mentioned, you could really be maximizing the volume of leads that you get from every single page on the site. So that pretty much covers the conversion optimization side of things, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. So Stacey, you've been looking at the site from a text and kind of messaging perspective. Is there anything that you'd add or change to any of the pages on the site, first of all, content-wise?
Yeah, so basically, just to follow on from what Wayne said, can everybody hear me now okay?
Yes.
Cool. So just to follow on from what Wayne said, obviously text is really important on a website. It tells the client what the features and the benefits are of using your service, and it helps them to start and build that relationship with you as well. But also Google really like text, so it's going to help influence how well you rank in the search engine. So it's really important that you try and get at least 300 words of text on every single page, because every page is an opportunity to grab some first page rankings. Now, most of your pages do have those 300 words of text. The only thing I would say is that the contact us page and the main dentures page and the gallery page could do with a little bit more text, but other than that, you've done well on that front. The other thing that I was going to talk about is the importance of having a mobile optimized site. So with that in mind, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see my phone? Ninjas, give us a thumbs up if you can. That was beautifully lunch credits. So right, with your mobile optimization, obviously 50% of your traffic is going to come from mobile, so it's super important that it is optimized and friendly to the audience, for the reason that if obviously it's not, you're going to turn that audience off. So you don't want to be alienating like at least half of your audience. So the good news is when I come to your mobile site, it is well optimized and it is stacking really well. We've got the click to call here. So that's fantastic. That's really good as well. Your phone number and your call to actions at the top. So that's really good. What I would say is that if I go to one of your pages, so for example, if I click on your dentures page, for example, you can see I've now got this big white space up here. So you're actually wasting quite a lot of space, and that's on every page of your website other than the home page. So that's something that I would also be looking at doing as well. Let me have a look, see if there's anything else on here. Yeah, so we noticed that at the bottom of the page, you've got your free consultation call to action, whereas have a make a booking call to action, which, as Wayne mentioned, is much more high risk. So with that in mind, you might want to think about swapping those over, because on mobile it's all about how well the content is stacked. But generally speaking, the site is performing quite well on mobile. There was a study done on Google that found that Google did a study, sorry, that found that the participants actually really like the autofill feature. Now, I'm not one of your customers, so I haven't tried to fill in one of your forms. But with that in mind, it might be worth optimizing the site to have the autofill feature included when somebody comes to fill a form in, because mobile traffic is just a case of wanting to be on the site and off the site as quickly as possible. So if you can save them some time by having the autofill feature on the site as well, that's also going to be beneficial. But all in all, it's a pretty good mobile site.
Awesome. So what about location? Because obviously these guys are targeting local searchers in Gold Coast, Australia. Not seeing too much location information on any of these pages. Is that something that's going to potentially turn off local visitors, do you think?
Absolutely as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's really important to convey such a clear message from the minute somebody lands on the site. So I would definitely be thinking about getting that information above the fold as well. Or you cover as well, because I know it's the mobile, definitely worth thinking about putting all of the locations that you cover above the fold, so people know instantly where it is that you're covering and whether or not you're a service that's going to be suitable for them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stacey. So We've got some things to wrap up there, making sure you got enough content on the page, making sure your CTAs are nice and prominent and compelling and not too high risk, not too high commitment for people. You don't want to meet someone and say, hey, you've got to come and marry me. You just want to say, hey, should we go and have a chat and see if we can get to know each other? Prominent contact info, looking at those live chat, live call widgets as well. And of course, it has to be mobile friendly. For a site like this, you might be expecting around 60% of the traffic to be coming from mobile. So it needs to be red hot on mobile. And now we're going to move over to talk about driving some traffic through SEO and content marketing. So very lucky to be joined by Super Ninja Jenna, who is one of our SEO ninjas. Jenna, are you going to take us through some SEO things that you've noticed about the sites?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to talk about some on-page SEO improvements you can make to rank better in the search results. So first of all, I would definitely suggest updating your meta titles and meta descriptions, because that's the first thing people are going to see when they're trying to find a denture clinic on Google. So I can see that your website doesn't currently have meta descriptions set on many of the key pages. So when you don't set your own meta descriptions, Google does it for you, and they usually pick this from the first 2 to 3 sentences on your website. Oftentimes, this isn't the most engaging description to get people to click on your site. So I wrote up an example description for your homepage that you could include as a meta description, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see it for yourself. All right, can you see it? Awesome. So this is a little bit the meta description that I wrote up for the homepage. It says the team at Northern Rivers Denture Clinic offer residents of the Tweed and Gold Coast affordable dentures made with the latest advances in dental technology. Call our dental team today at phone number for a free consultation. I'll stop sharing my screen here. Okay, awesome. So that description gives the reader important information such as the areas you service, and it also includes a call to action at the end, which is going to encourage people to call. So that's an engaging meta description that will boost your rankings. And the next on-site SEO improvement that I would suggest has to do with something called EAT, E-A-T, and that stands for expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now, these factors are something that Google has recently placed a lot of emphasis on when deciding what pages they're going to rank higher. And this especially applies to industries in the medical services, because you're obviously dealing with sensitive information. So what you can do to follow these guidelines is add a few elements to your pages that prove you are the experts on dentures and that your info is trustworthy. So things you can do is include testimonials on all of your service pages. Right now you have some great testimonials on your homepage, but you have different services, and it'd be a great idea to add testimonials that are specific to those services on each of your pages. Another thing you can do is add dentist bios. So whenever you're talking about a lot of information on a blog or on the key service pages, include a photo of the dentist and talk about where their education, their expertise, and some information about them that proves that they are the expert on this subject. Also, you can talk about any awards you've won in the industry, and you should also emphasize how many years you've been in business and how many patients you've helped. So these are all factors that will help prove that you are an expert, that you're trustworthy, and that you are the authority in dentures. So those are some great improvements you can start making right now to help improve your site and improve your rankings on Google.
Nice one. Good stuff, Jenna. All right. Dale, you've been having a look at content marketing and some ways that these guys could post some stuff which is going to get a bit more attention and actually help their organic ranking. I mean, I know a lot of dentists, and we've worked with a number of dentists over the years, but a lot of dentists, they treat their blog as a bit of a hassle, really, don't they? They don't really know why they're doing it. Some marketing person like us told them that they needed to blog, and now it's just on their to-do list. They don't really know what sort of business purpose it's going to serve. So how can a practice like Northern Rivers Denture Clinic actually use their blog for good?
That's a really good question. And just to come back to what Jenna was saying about EAT, about this expertise, authority, and trust, you can use your blog and your content marketing, which is the subject I'll be discussing, to establish that expertise, the authority you have in your sector, especially locally, trying to build up that local authority and the trust that you've gained through the testimonials, the customers you've had, and have been your client base for a while. But I'm going to just share my screen to begin with. I'm going to just show you what I've been looking at. Okay, so the main thing with content marketing is that you're trying to do exactly that. You're trying to market your business through content. And we can do that through two methods. We can do that through the creation of online content on your own website, and through the creation of content in distribution on other people's websites, so offsite. And that's really important to understand that when you are creating content, you need to understand what the mindset is of the person reading it. They're quite likely to be looking for more information on how to do something or what options are available. They need to know everything about it before making that final decision in which they then take an action. And in this case, they may want to learn more about what dentures are, the process of, what are my options for choosing dentures? Are there different types of dentures? Which is the best fit for me? Who's the best dentist for me? Or, expert to do this process of adding dentures to my life, and then making that final action of booking an appointment. So our on-site content done through the blog needs to explain exactly all of the information they need to know, and again, that expertise, authority, and trust you have to talk about that subject and to give the service to people who come through to your denture clinic. So looking through the blog at the moment, I don't think that the content is really hitting those necessary parts of the intent of the user. I think at the moment it is falling into that category that Tim mentioned, which is, some marketers said, oh, you have to have a blog. It's the big thing for websites. Oh, you have to have a blog. You have to create content. Content is everything. But there's a difference between just uploading content about the new services you offer, such as a mobile denture clinic, compared to details on how to look after your dentures. And looking through the blog, the majority of the content is more newsworthy, which is good to share with people, but it's not necessarily the kind of information that's going to bring people through to your website via search, for example. If somebody's searching for how to look after their dentures, this is not the kind of content that's going to bring them through. Now, again, we do have some content on the website, but it's not optimized in the best way possible. We've got titles that don't really mean anything to me. And if I am scanning through the website, whilst the information may be useful, it's not going to get my attention. There's a bug on my plate. Okay, that's interesting that there are details on microbes and bacteria and the content we come into with them. But is this the kind of information that's going to navigate me towards purchasing dentures? I'm not so sure. Maybe we could showcase this information in a different way and make it more interesting. The same for another one. This is about the uniqueness of your denture choice. Very important subject, choosing the right dentures, but maybe this isn't formatted or shared in the best way possible to educate the user. There are better pieces of content on the website. So you do have, how to keep your dentures sparkling. A very important point. Like, I don't know how to clean dentures because I currently don't have them, but I expect to before the decade is out. But this information is interesting, but probably not as in-depth or as useful as it could be for someone who is exploring for information. And again, trying to understand why you're an authority and why I should trust you with my with my mouth. Why should I come to you to give me this service? So I've looked through externally using SEMrush, which is a very fantastic SEO tool for establishing the types of pages that gain traffic. And looking at this, I can see that the content on the website is not really pulling through a lot of traffic. Now, this is estimates. It's not exactly the information you might be seeing within the analytics tool that you have, such as Google Analytics, but it gives me an idea of what may be driving people through. And this is specific to Australia. I made sure to check. And the highest ranking content was this on what do dentures cost on the Gold Coast. Fantastic subject matter to choose from, and there are lots of subject matter to choose on that you could establish on the website, but the information in this is very specific to your denture clinic. It's about the cost of your denture options, which is great, but the title is misleading. It doesn't really tell you what the dentures cost on the Gold Coast. It's not a comparison of your costs and how they may be more valuable or more cost effective than other options. You may have better quality for a better price. That's not established through this in a way that establishes my trust. It's more of a sales pitch rather than a comparison, which is not exactly what I was expecting when I saw this headline. So there are some good choices being made for titles, but maybe we need to work on the style in which the content is being created. Now, in terms of useful topics and content ideas, there is a large range of subjects which people are probably searching for, and we can establish that using this website called Answer the Public. I just dropped in the word dentures, and you can see there are a lot of questions it's determined that people may be asking, such as, what age would you get dentures, what to eat when you have dentures, how to look after them, how dentures stay in place. These kinds of things that people who've never had dentures before or don't know anybody with dentures are going to be asking themselves. I don't know anybody that has dentures, or maybe they do and they just haven't noticed because they're so perfectly well done. But I don't know how they stay in place. I don't know how they clean them every night. I always have this image of, from films and TV where they have a glass of water by the bedside and the teeth are in there. And in 2018, that's probably not the case. So we need to look through these ideas and see the kinds of questions that people are asking and answering them before they've made a decision to choose you, because you're trying to establish that expertise in the subject. We can take those questions, find out the search volume for them, so we can see how many people are searching on average, how frequently that might be. We can also extend that further and see, well, which related phrases are people asking about? For Steve, how much do dentures cost with extractions? All those kinds of things. We can put together a plan or a flow of the types of questions people ask as they learn about dentures before they get to the very end of the sales of that sales funnel, you could say, where they take in action. There are other websites that are doing content quite well. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be thousands of words. It just needs to be accessible. And this very short piece of content doesn't have much to it, but it's super accessible. It's got a video that takes you through how to brush your teeth. It explains how to do it with a good technique, a short, small image there as well. They also have it as downloadable PDF for people to save for later if they need to share it with their kids. Hey, you should be doing, your kids are off at college. Hey, you should read this and make sure you're brushing your teeth properly, because I'm not there to watch over you. If you're that kind of parent. So there's content like this you could definitely be doing. And I think it's really necessary, because when I use other tools, another one called Majestic, which measures your authority, measures how much trust your website has in topics, such as dental care. There's not a lot for this website. So we need to do off-site content marketing. So creating content to share elsewhere. Using the same kind of subjects, educating people about dentures, why they may need them, the best kind of way to look after them, the diet they might need for them. And we can then work with people in your target market space. So I imagine people in the age of like 40 to 60 getting dentures for the first time, or new dentures, something like that. So we can reach them through the kinds of websites they may be navigating. So we can reach out to a middle years blogger. We can reach out to people over 40, single. We can reach out to them and make some content that would work specifically for them, for their needs. And there, as you can see, there are a lot of different blogs you can work with and create content. Again, make it specific to their needs rather than trying to post anything anywhere, wherever you can get something published. And then to find URLs and find the publishers to work with, we can do smart things, such as we want to talk about the best kind of diet to have when you have dentures, and we can search for that and use specifically Australian domains to work with. So we can find a middle-aged mama who writes in Australia, and we can maybe create some content for them, which brings down the range much further, much closer and local to home. And maybe finally, with content marketing, you can go offline as well. Maybe you want to work with the 60+ Club, Australian publisher and network. Maybe you can do some work with them. They have some blogs you could maybe write for them, but they also do some volunteering, things like that. Maybe there's some offline events you could take part in to educate people about dentures, how to take care of your dentures. You could do local to home in a cafe setting, something like that. This is how you take care of your dentures. And then you can finish the day by drinking lots of tea and eating lots of cake and showing how dentures can work. And that's it from me.
Awesome. Thank you, Dale. That was really useful. I just wanted to expand on one of the things that you were saying about the price piece, because a lot of markets have price keywords, don't they? So denture cost and stuff like that. So One of the campaigns which I know a bunch of you guys have worked on is canary claims for us. So cheapest PPI companies is the term that we targeted. Now, there's some really good content on their site comparing honestly the cost between them and their competitors. So here's why the cost piece that Dale mentioned doesn't just have to be how much do Gold Coast dentures cost at your clinic. You can actually show a range of different costs at other clinics as well, or just typical costs. If that content is useful enough and your site is built to be enough of an authority, here we've got a search for cheapest PPI companies where it's actually comparing our client site cost against competitors. So a massive, amazing search visibility for them, and it's come through giving genuinely useful and honest content, so not just a pure sales pitch. Righty ho, let's move on then. So we've looked at SEO, content marketing. Now we're going to look into some pay-per-click, and Super Loz is going to help us out with some of that. So we're going to be talking about Google ads and some Facebook ads as well. Loz, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so I'm going to start with some Facebook ads stuff, if that's okay. So let me just set up my screen share for you, and let's check that that's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by having a look at some of the landing pages, some of the pages that I've identified on the website that I would be looking to send traffic to if I was doing a PPC campaign. So this is probably applicable really to Facebook ads and to Google ads. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about how I might kind of design that Facebook ad, and then hopefully we'll get on to some competitor analysis for AdWords ads as well. So to start with this landing page, which I'm assuming that everybody can see because I've set up the screen share. Yeah, getting some nods from everybody. Cool. So this page here is about the service Complete Dentures. So one of the first things that we need to do with any kind of paid traffic is we need to make sure that the expectations that we're setting when we're advertising this service on a third-party platform like Facebook, and the experience that somebody gets when they actually land on the page, we need to make sure that those two things are really kind of tied together well. Yeah, for example, you know, this is a complete denture service, isn't it? It's about yeah, kind of getting you that the kind of best level of service that you can, and then we compare that to another landing page which is same day denture. So this is about obviously getting a quick service that's as quick and as painless as possible, and it's all about the kind of turnaround times. So offering the same kind of thing, but for two quite different markets. So we'd be looking to advertise those two things in quite different ways in terms of Facebook traffic. So, you know, if we're advertising a same-day denture service, then we'd be highlighting in there something like our quick turnaround. That would be kind of the main benefit which we would be highlighting in that headline. Yeah, the first thing really is to make sure that we're setting the right kind of expectations. I think the actual pages on this website do quite a good job of introducing the services, so I don't think we've got too much issue there. Where I do think that there might be a little bit of a disconnect is between you know, somebody's kind of getting somebody engaged with this page and then converting them into a lead, into a customer, whatever kind of the next step of the process is. So that's where I'm just going to basically look at some of these call to actions that are on this page. So we can see the call to action included on this page is call now for a free consultation. So for me, this free consultation is the kind of call to action which we often will recommend in terms of a business like this. And I think that this is a fantastic call to action for some of the other pages on this website, but not for this one. So for me, because this is a same-day denture service, this is all about the speediness of the service. This is about you know, averting that kind of disaster on your holiday. Then, you know, we really want to be highlighting, in order to get this done as soon as possible, this is what you should be doing straight away. So for me, this call to action doesn't really tie together with the kind of experience that I would imagine that a customer in that situation would be having. You know, where that would work slightly better, I think, would be on a page like this complete denture service. Whereas if we scroll down to the bottom of this page and we have a look for the call to action here, what we actually see is we see some options about financing. Now, this probably is not really the right kind of point in the process to be advertising financing. What we want to be doing is we want to be giving people that lowest kind of barrier to entry option here. So as you know, some of my colleagues on the call have already mentioned, we want something that's, you know, easy for a customer to do. So this is where the free consultation would really come into its own, and where I'd definitely be recommending something like that. Yeah, free consultation for this page would be absolutely fantastic, whereas for this same-day dentures page, not quite so great. Just before I move on, one other thing I want to mention about these landing pages is that we do a great job of introducing the actual service itself, but in terms of kind of location targeting, I don't think that we actually do an amazing job of highlighting that to customers. Obviously we're all kind of UK based, or at least European and that kind of thing, and whereas this is a business which is based in Australia, maybe it's immediately apparent to anybody within this market that Northern Rivers is a sort of fairly small location within the east coast of Australia. That wasn't immediately apparent to me, and I kind of feel like that might not be immediately apparent to a lot of your customers. What I would be looking to do with some of these pages, if we're trying to convert somebody from somewhere like Facebook, is we're looking to say, hey, you know, I'm a dental clinic that is based, you know, 10, 15, 20 miles away from you. You can travel, you know, to our dental practice within half an hour, kind of thing. And you know, that's the kind of service that you're going to be getting. So I think we could definitely do with improving the kind of location information that we've got included on some of these pages. So yeah, those are kind of my main suggestions in terms of improving these landing pages so that they would work better in terms of paid traffic. The next thing that I want to talk about really is in terms of actually designing some ads. So what kinds of text would be looking to include in the ads? Well, some of the text that we've got included here, especially for this page, I think is really, really fantastic. So what we can see on this page, it's all about mobile denture service, is we can see a great list of bullet points of the benefits of this service. You know, what's so great about this service, why you would want to go with something like this. So what I'm imagining is that these could be really fantastic. These could be really fantastic headlines for a Facebook advert. So this is the kind of stuff that I would be looking to copy over to a Facebook ad. Some of these nice short bullet points here. In terms of imagery for a Facebook advert, this is actually where you might come across one of Facebook's advertising policies that may actually cause you a little bit of issue. So before and after images are completely banned on Facebook. You're not allowed to use before and after images in any context. So if that's fitness supplements, if that's improving, you know, somebody's smile or something like that, we wouldn't be allowed to use any of those kind of images, even though, you know, they can be quite effective in terms of demonstrating that the service is fantastic. So that kind of stuff is pretty much a no-no immediately. The other kind of thing that we can't do is we can't do anything that's considered shocking or is considered sort of medical and that kind of stuff. So people obviously want to see, you know, nice imagery that's kind of, you know, interesting content for them to consume within their Facebook feed. Whereas something like this image, which you can see at the moment, seems pretty innocuous, but if somebody's scrolling through their Facebook feed, it might not be the kind of stuff, the kind of content that they're really looking to engage with. So that's why what I'd recommend in terms of the advert imagery would be something more along the lines of what we can see on this About Us page. So let's introduce the service. Let's introduce Northern Rivers Denture Clinic. Let's say, hey, let's give a little bit of a description about why you guys are so fantastic, that kind of thing. So maybe let's go with some of these images of your staff. Let's maybe go with some images of the staff that are included, you know, in the dental practice setting, so you can see sort of the equipment and the chair and that kind of stuff where you'd be. That's the kind of thing that I would expect to do quite well in terms of reassuring somebody that this is a friendly business that's going to be giving them the kind of level of service that they're looking for. So those are kind of the main sort of things which I'd be looking to cover in terms of Facebook ad. Next thing I want to do is I just want to guide you through some of the a method for seeing what your competitors are up to on Facebook. So what you can do is, obviously, you can search on Facebook for something like Denture Clinic Gold Coast. You can see all of your competitors listed there. You'd be able to open up any of these competitors, and you can see their Facebook page. From there, you can then click info and ads here. And what that enables you to do is that enables you to basically see what adverts this business is currently running. And then you can hopefully get some ideas about what you should be doing yourself. Now, this is actually quite interesting because through the research that I've done on this business, there's not a huge amount of paid advertising going on in the Gold Coast area, in the area that this business caters to. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second, but I haven't been able to find some adverts of direct competitors to you, but what I have done is I found this advert from a dental clinic that's based in Nottingham. So we can see what their ads look like. We can see that they're offering free consultations. We can see that they've got a book now button, and we can see that they've got this medical image. This is not the kind of thing that I would be recommending, this medical image, because it does just generally put people off. It makes people aren't sort of interested in clicking on something that looks like that, even if that's the sort of service that they're after.
It's the sort of image that all the dentists want to show and none of the patients want to see. You go on the dental Facebook and it's just pages and pages of, mouths like that, which to a dentist is fantastic and to a patient is like disgusting.
100%, yeah. Obviously, that's what people are expecting when they go to a dentist, but that's not what people are looking to see on their Facebook feed. That's not what's going to get them to click. So let's have some nice smiley images of your staff and say, hey, this is the kind of business I want to go for. So let's move over to just have a look at some AdWords. So I've got two AdWords. I've got two Google searches here, which I've done. The first is a search for best denture clinic in Melbourne. I realized that Melbourne is not an area that this business specifically is catering to, but what I want to demonstrate is that we've got 4 Google AdWords PPC ads showing up at the top of these search results here. So as you can see, obviously these show up above all the organic stuff. So this is a great way to get that kind of position 1 to be right at the top, and try and get some of that traffic. Some of these ads are pretty good. So I mean, committed to providing dental excellence, book an appointment today. That's a kind of pretty good call to action, whereas this one here, not so great. So fully qualified, I mean, that's kind of something which I would expect, to be honest, is that you'd be fully qualified to do your job. And then we can see that we've got call or email us today. So what is your email address and what is your phone number? Those things are not included in this piece of text here, so really that's not a very useful call to action to include there. So we can see that these ads could do with some improvements, some of these. But yeah, this is just to kind of demonstrate what the Google AdWords search results would look like. Like I say, this is for Melbourne. So let's go over to the same search performed, best denture clinic in the Gold Coast, which is where this business is catering to. What we can see is that the first result here is actually the Google map of local results. We don't have any AdWords ads showing up at the top here. So basically what this means is none of your competitors are advertising for this kind of search. Now, generally speaking, there's 2 reasons why this would be. Either, your competitors have already tried this out and they found it's not cost effective, or your competitors just aren't aware about this as an opportunity to be generating some traffic for the business. Now, I've had a quick check. Looks like Gold Coast has a population of around 500,000 people. For me, that audience is plenty big enough to be getting traffic from a search like this, to be getting people looking for this kind of service, and this is something that we want to be capitalizing on those people. So I don't think that it's the case that this isn't going to be cost effective for you to be advertising here. I think really this is an opportunity. This is a perfect opportunity that your competitors don't know about this, and you could be getting some absolutely really dirt cheap traffic because you have no competition for this kind of search. There's one small caveat to this, which is that obviously I'm performing this search in Nottingham in the United Kingdom. If we scroll down to the bottom here, we can see that Google knows where I am performing the search from. Now, including this location information to Gold Coast, we can see that Google knows where I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for a business that's based in Gold Coast on the east coast of Australia. So we know that Google is trying to provide those results. So I'm pretty confident that Google would be showing those AdWords ads for this kind of search, especially when we compare this to this search for Melbourne, which is giving us those AdWords ads. So there's a small chance that Google is just not showing me those AdWords ads for your competitors. But honestly, I think this is actually just the case that there aren't any competitors, and this is a really good opportunity for you as a business. So yeah, those are kind of the main things that should be recommending. I would definitely be recommending that you try out Facebook ads. I definitely recommend you try out Google AdWords ads, because I think this is a perfect opportunity, somewhere that you can really capitalize on that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything from me. So I think I'm going to hand back over to Tim now to carry on.
Super duper. Thank you, Loz. So it looks like both Facebook ads and Google ads could be a pretty good channel. Google ads in particular looks like there's some pretty interesting sleepy competitors in that area. Obviously, loads of stuff to do. One of the big questions that people will have after seeing something like this is, how on earth do we prioritize this stuff and actually put it into a plan? It's all very well knowing that your website needs work, your SEO needs work, your content marketing needs work, Google ads, Facebook ads, conversion all needs work. But if you've got 5 hours a week or 5 hours a month to play with this stuff, you're going to meltdown. Ali, you are one of the project managers at Exposure Ninja, so you are used to spending your time prioritizing things for people and for clients. How do they begin to think about what stuff needs to be focused on first?
So it's of course no use doing everything all at once. So we've actually picked out a Japanese proverb. We do love those here. One who chases after two hares won't even catch one. There is no point trying to do everything at once. You will not succeed. What we need to do is put things in an order. That means we're going to get your return on investment as quickly as possible. So month one is where we start to lay the foundations. So the heart of a great website is, what do you want people to do on your site? And why should they do it? You must tell them. You've got to make it clear, otherwise it won't happen. So when we go into conversion rate optimization, we need to make sure that we're reducing the barriers to conversion. Your calls to action are essential. They need to be clear. And like many of the ninjas have already said, we need to remove those barriers, make it easy for people. Ensure that the site is mobile friendly. So on this site in particular, we had some issues where there's some wasted space. We need to make sure we're not wasting any of our space, because it's a key moment. Make sure that the clinic's location is clear. So we really need to make sure that people can find where you are, because that's going to help them engage. If they're not sure that you're local, then they're unlikely to engage and we could lose visitors. We need to review some of the imagery on the site. So we've got that dentist thing going on, as we've just mentioned. So it's good to have lots of kind of the effects and what people are actually aspiring to, rather than the bit in the middle, which is the bit they might be a bit more nervous about. Yeah, that's a fantastic demonstration, Tim. Thank you. So we also need to look at trust symbols and authority. So as Jenna mentioned, and Dale as well, EAT is so important. So we're looking at expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. We really need to support that throughout the site. We also should consider adding a live chat function. For a lot of websites, this has a real impact on the number of leads that are generated. It's really worth doing. It's quite simple to run, and it's just worth trying it out and seeing how it works for your business. So content marketing and SEO need to do a site audit. You need to make sure that there aren't any technicalities that are going to hold you back. Things like, are you uploaded to Search Console correctly? We need to make sure that the site's being indexed. Update titles and meta descriptions. It is your time to shine. It's your few seconds on the search results to make sure that they're going to click on your website and not someone else's. They've really got to be on point. This is when we start registering with high quality business directories. We need to make sure that the site is collecting authority, and this is a really nice, easy way to do this. It's something that can give you a nice early boost in authority. We also need to produce our keyword strategy, and this needs to be targeted. So we need short, medium, and long-term targets. Don't try and do everything at once, it won't work. Include local terms if your business is location-based, so we really need to be targeting the location of this area. And then, of course, we need to review the content on key pages. So this is making sure that it's in line with our keyword strategy, but also making sure that it's compelling. So coming back again to what you want people to do and why they should do it. So also for month one, just going into PPC and Facebook ads, we should be researching competitors, checking out keywords for PPC, and really considering what your target audience is going to be for Facebook. The target audience is really, really key to making sure that you're going to get that cost per acquisition low. Ensure that you're setting up adverts to drive traffic to pages that will convert. If you're sending people to pages that aren't going to convert, you're not going to get any money, so don't do that. Okay, month two. So this is where we need to research and refine. So essentially, to any good campaign, you need to constantly be evaluating what you're doing and whether it's working. If it's not working, why isn't it working? And just gently tweak it down until you've got something that is working well. So conversion rate optimization, we need to set up heat maps on the website and look for opportunities for further optimization. If there are certain patches on a page that people aren't engaging with and it's in a key area, then get rid of it. It's a waste of space. Put something up there that people can engage with. Assess the engagement with contact forms and calls to action. We need to make sure those calls to action are working well for you. Like we said earlier, if they're not working, you need to have a rethink and get people going. But that said, don't rush into things too quickly. If you haven't had enough hits yet to make those kinds of decisions, then you could be moving away from something that might work. Just need to make sure that you're getting reasonable data before you start making assumptions. Content marketing SEO. So next we need to begin syndicating videos to high quality video websites. This is another good way to get an early boost in authority. It's a great way to get extra exposure as well. We need to review the click-through rate on page titles and meta descriptions. If you're not getting a good click-through rate, then it's time to just make sure that you're refining it down. So if somebody potentially is having their expectations mismanaged and they're going through to a page that doesn't agree with the title that you sent them through to, then we can have lots of bounce rates. We just need to refine that. Review the competition's backlinks and article topics to look for opportunities. So essentially we can be a bit sneaky here. If they're getting lots of backlinks on particular topics, then we can join in on that as well. The next thing is content marketing. So we should be researching high quality publications to pitch to. It's a good idea to come up with a few different titles of good quality content that you can create, pitch those titles to those high quality publications, and then once a title is accepted, you can then create the content. Usually advise not to create the content first because you might waste your time if you're not finding a site that actually wants to publish it. On-site blogs, so as we've already said, we just need to make sure that we're answering questions and good quality content on there. If the content isn't any good, then it's not going to drive traffic, people aren't going to engage. So we just need to lay it out in a way that's really going to help walk people through. PPC and Facebook ads, so we need to review the cost per acquisition and refine ads accordingly. If one ad is costing a lot of money and not converting, then we need to either refine it or we need to switch it off. There's no point spending money on something that's not getting you conversion. We should also, as we were with SEO and conversion rate optimization, look at landing page heat maps and just make sure that the content is working for you. Adjust the layout on messaging as necessary. So month 3, refinement and exposure. So again, constantly refining the campaign, making sure that we're getting that return on investment, but also this is where you've kind of laid your foundation so we can begin to kind of branch out a bit more, push things a bit further. So use heat maps to look for further optimization and assess the engagement with contact forms and calls to action again. That's something you should be doing every month and constantly optimizing. For content marketing and SEO, we need to review the click-through rate. So like I said earlier, check if the bounces are high, it could be a problem with the page, or it might be that you're not managing expectations correctly. If some of the click-through rates are lower, there could be a way to optimize them. So just keep an eye on those and keep checking them. Assess the site's backlinks. If you've got low quality links, you should get rid of those because they could be harming your potential for ranking. Continue pitching articles to high quality publications and be sure to establish yourself as an authority. On-site blogs, again, continue answering those questions and providing high quality content. Then PPC and Facebook ads, this is kind of time to not only refine the ads that you have, but you can also begin to experiment with some slightly different ones. So you could look at, for example, changing different to different ad copy for the PPC, or changing images for your Facebook. And you can look at driving ads further up the funnel, so potentially to people who don't know that you're the solution to their problem yet, but you're about to educate them. So that is a 3-month plan rundown, and I'm just going to hand over back to you, Tim.
That's awesome. Kate's just asked in the chat if she can have a download for that. So I've just stuck the link to it. That's a plan that you can use. Any business that's you want to improve the performance of your website and you want to drive more traffic through SEO and PPC. That plan you can follow, which is linked in the chat, is basically our default kind of go-to prioritization in a nice 3-month period for you, so you don't have to do everything immediately. Before we open up for some Q&A, and we don't have very long, thank you everyone for sticking to your time limits. We've got 4 minutes to go. I just wanted to tell you a bit about an event that we're going to be running. So you might have seen, if you're a Ninja fan, then you might have been getting some emails which mention something called, or it doesn't even have a name yet, but Dominate 19. So we're running an event in October, and we've not done an event like this before. And in fact, I don't think an event like this has really been run before. Basically, if you're a marketing manager or business owner and you're determined to make next year a really good year for your digital marketing piece, that's what this event is for. So if you like this type of thing, going behind the scenes, having a look at some different marketing strategies which are working really well, you're going to love Dominate 19. So lots of the ninjas from Exposure Ninja will be sharing the stuff that we've been doing for our clients over the course of 2019. I'm also going to show you some of the stuff that we're going to be focusing on in 2019, so that if you're doing a marketing or you're coordinating the marketing for your business, this is the stuff that we'd recommend focusing on. So things around Google algorithm updates, EAT, which Jenna and Dale mentioned, massive Google updates coming out around that type of thing. So you need to make sure that your business is in a good state to benefit from these algorithm changes. So that's going to be the sorts of stuff that we're going to be focusing at in this event. And then finally, the goal of the event is to help you put together a prioritized plan for your digital marketing in 2019, or if you want to get started on it early, in the last quarter of 2018. So the event that we've got planned is on the 25th of October, and it's at Novotel Heathrow Hotel. So there's actually no tickets available for this yet at all. What we're doing is we've got a registration process so you can register for interest. The reason that we've got that is the room that we've provisionally booked holds 70 people. We're giving our clients priority. We've got, I don't know, in the region of probably 100 clients, and some of them have already asked about bringing +1s. So we're going to be opening tickets publicly if there's anything available after our clients have had a right of first refusal. We've already got over 100 people on the waiting list as well. So it's massively oversubscribed and there's not even any tickets for sale. So if you're interested in coming along, it's going to be killer. It's really probably the best thing that you can do to just get away from the business for a day, spend a day just planning your digital, making sure everything's prioritized. You're focusing on the stuff that's going to make the biggest difference for you. So if you want to get on the waiting list, the registration for interest piece, then you just need to go to dominate.ninja. Pop that in the chat there, so I don't know if that URL works. Dominate.ninja, and you'll see a little registration piece there. So just stick in your details, and as soon as tickets are available, you will get the opportunity to grab one. We don't know how many are going to be available. Obviously, it depends on how many of our clients want to come and how many +1s they bring and stuff like that. But just click on register your interest, and you'll get on the early bird list. And as soon as we have stuff available, you'll be able to grab a ticket. So hope you found that useful. This has been an interesting experience for us, hanging on by the seat of our pants to YouTube Live with so many people. If you've got any questions about your own digital or anything else Ninja related, then you've got 1 minute to ask them in the YouTube chat before we all disappear. And if you don't have questions, then fine. No? All right, we're all good. Oh, Dipsy says, I'm a one-woman band, so really struggle with online marketing. I think I need to hypnotize myself to get my head around it. That is one way of doing it, Dipsy. yeah, I guess you just have a mirror there and then you just hypnotize yourself. The other way to do it would just be to pick your battles. So like Ali's presentation showed, the first thing you've got to get sorted is your website. Without an effective website, then really it doesn't matter what traffic you're driving, it's going to be ineffective. So website, and probably the most important part of your website is qualifying your visitors and then giving them something that they really want. So giving them as much value as you possibly can give them on the front end at no charge. Best way to get people contacting you. Once you know that when you get a visitor to your website, you got a good chance of converting them, then you can start adding more traffic. But you've got to start with the stuff that's going to, start with the biggest levers and then work your way down. Cool. I've submitted mine for a review, so that's a good start. Yes, indeed. If you want to get a review of your website and your digital marketing, then you can submit your site for one of our world famous free website and marketing reviews. Kate, yes, law firms. Law firms are fantastic for this stuff because so many of your competitors, a little bit like dentists, so many of your competitors are just completely not switched on to lead generation and digital marketing at all. They think it's all about, appearing professional, and of course it is. But if you have an offer of a free case assessment or some kind of free consultation that you can use to get people on, you can really do a lot. We've got a law firm client. We just added a form to their homepage. Literally, that was the only change we made. 0 leads a month to 53 leads a month. It's really just that simple. So making sure that when people land on the site, there's something compelling that they actually want to do is a really good step. Alrighty, cool. Well, thank you, ninjas, for joining. Yes, Dale's, yeah, that's the other thing to mention. Yeah, I'm really good at this, you can tell, can't you? So we're all going to be speaking on the topics that we've been talking about broadly. So if you're interested in EAT, Dale's going to be talking about that. We've got another couple of SEO ninjas as well, Andy and David, really, really super bright, who are going to be speaking. Wayne's going to be there, Loz is going to be there, Stacey's going to be there, Ali's going to be there. Jenna, are you coming? She'd like to, right? Jenna's going to be there as well, and I'll be there too. And then we've got another 3 or 4 ninjas as well, I think. So yeah, it'll be fantastic. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you, ninjas, for joining me. See you all soon.
Cheers.